First Lady waiting for about half an hour, so I'm going to take off. But,
I don't want to make her mad. Please go.
you're in good hands, and Gibbs will call last question.
Yeah, help
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, is there anything else that can be done, in your opinion?
Look at him. Look how comfortable he is. And he went on to stay there for another 20 minutes on and on and on. So the question is, was this a mistake by President Obama? Jason Lewis is a syndicated radio host and the author of Power Divided is Power Checked. And Maria Cardona is a former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Maria, I remember you coming on during the election, and now you are in Barack Obama's camp, but then you were not, and you wanted Hillary for president. I bet you never envisioned if she lost and Barack Obama won, we'd get Bill Clinton back in the White House briefing room, taking over. Was it a mistake or wasn't it?
No, absolutely not. I actually thought it was a very good move on behalf of this White House, because what Bill Clinton has is this magic of being able to explain very complicated public policy initiatives in very simple language. And that's exactly what he did at the White House podium. He made people understand why this was exactly the deal that the United States needed at the time,
But why
and
did
why
we need
President
Bill Clinton
Obama
there, Maria?
was supporting
Why can't President Obama do that? Why do we need Bill Clinton to come in and explain it to us?
He's doing it. No, he's doing it day in and day out. But Megan, you know that when you have a difficult initiative to sell, you want everybody on your team to be able to help you. It's nothing new. You know, presidents have done this, former presidents have done this for others in the past. When you're in a difficult position, you bring in the big guns. President Obama is confident enough in his own position that he can bring in somebody like Bill Clinton and make sure that it is something that
he
helps
brought in
him. That's
a
exactly
former
what happened.
president coming into the White House briefing room and taking over while the first president leaves?
No, he's not. He wasn't taking over. He was helping them
I'm going to get to Jason in a second, but I just want to ask you,
I'm sorry.
when has that happened?
Oh, you're asking me when that has happened?
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that it's nothing new for presidents to help former presidents whenever they're trying to do something difficult. For
That's
example,
true.
President
Clinton
was
that's true. I'm not going to challenge you on that. That's obviously true. What's unusual in this case, Jason, is to see the former president come into the White House briefing room, and then our current commander-in-chief gets the heck out of Dodge because he had the White House Christmas party he had to go to.
Right. Yeah, you might have a former president endorse a candidate or endorse a position or give a speech at the next convention, but to have the ex-president sit there, and when they were running out of time and President Obama said, I gotta go, the First Lady's gonna get mad, anybody but Clinton would have said, well, I guess we gotta cut this short. Instead, Bill Clinton says, yeah, you're right, you gotta go now. Please go, please go. And that just cracked me up. But look, Obama's in between a rock and a hard spot. He faces a Hobson's choice. He can save his base, or he can move to the middle and triangulate. I think bringing in Clinton was not only an effort to shore up support for the tax deal, but it was symbolic. He was telling everybody, I'm going to do what Clinton did in 1994. I'm going to listen to the midterms. I'm going to move to the middle, certainly on this issue. I've got to represent the entire country. I'm not Henry Waxman, who just has to represent Hollywood and can take any crazy vote you want. So I think this was not just shoring up his support on the tax deal. It was symbolic, saying, guess what? Get used to me triangulating.
Well, let me ask you this, Jason. Did President Obama harm his own standing? There's an interesting piece in the New York Post today saying, look, the rules of etiquette are normally when the commander-in-chief is done speaking, the event's over. That's it. He's the last speaker to go. And the argument is he's entitled to change that if he wants to, but he does so at his own peril. And that he's basically diminished his own standing at a time when he can't really afford to be doing that.
Yeah, the precedent set here now is when Obama gets in trouble on another issue, everybody's going to say, well, you better bring back Clinton. You better bring back somebody else that's got more gravitas than you do. But he's in an extraordinary position. The Republicans hold all the cards on the tax issue. Last weekend, they proved that the Democrats could not pass just a tax increase on the so-called wealthy. So the Republicans can say, if you don't do this or this or this, we're going to let the thing expire. The Democrats and President Obama will get blamed for raising taxes on the middle class. He is in a tough position.
Maria, what do you make of it? Because the reports say that the White House staffers were allegedly not aware this was going to happen, and that the two men were came up with this deal, fumbled their way over to the White House briefing room. The door was locked. They said, hey, can anybody unlock this and find some press for us? Do you think this really was an impromptu move by our current and our former president?
Well, exact same reporting that I've heard, but I have to say, I would think it would be a brilliant move on their part if they had actually planned this. Because again, I think that this was actually a very good move for President Obama. You had Bill Clinton explaining in very detailed but understandable language why this was needed. And another thing, Megan, you know, you talk about symbolism. You have the last Democratic president who presided over the greatest economic expansion that we've had in 50
much
years.
beloved by Democrats in particular.
Absolutely, exactly. Much beloved by the base, by moderates, by conservative Democrats, by everybody.
But
And I
Maria,
think that
what
can
is
only
going to
help
happen now
Obama in
if
his-
President
in his
Obama has a
health.
falling out with Hillary Clinton and decides he wants to let her go from the Secretary of State position? I mean, he can forget that now.
Well, but now you're just making things up because
Yes,
there's
I am.
nothing
I'm actually only
exactly.
joking.
There's nothing to indicate that's the case. And in fact, going back to one of the things that you
Maria.
said in your